Hey guys, welcome back to Creating Careers Podcast. On today's episode, I had a chance to sit down and talk with Grant Watson. Grant is the owner and operator of 99 Natives. If you're familiar with 99 Natives, then you already know the quality of the type of work that Grant and his team does. Grant shares with us the story of how he got involved first in video production in general, but then also how he was at one point employed and later acquired 99 Natives. I really did enjoy just getting to know Grant and know his story, and I'm excited to share it with you now. Check it out. We've already talked a lot,
Yeah,
and I love this talk, and I'm hoping that my slides that I will go through don't derail this kind of a talk.
go
So
for it.
I value this. But let me go ahead and say, Grant Watson, welcome to Creating Creators Podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
I understand Grant is your middle name.
That's right.
Is it Stephen?
Yeah, that's the first name.
So I should call you Stephen from now on.
No. I think my mom somewhere is probably like, what? No. So Steven's my dad's name, but he did not want a junior.
Yeah.
So I've always gone by Grant,
Yeah.
which is weird when people say like, what's your first name? And I'm like, on forums, I'm like, well, I want to put Grant because then they're going to put Steven and call me that. And it's not what I go by.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I'll put Steven.
I got you. I got you. So is your dad's full name Stephen Grant Watson?
No, his full name is Stephen Kelly Watson.
Okay.
And then I guess they liked Grant. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's what they decided to call me. But my wife and I are actually having a girl in July, which we're very excited about. And we've
Congratulations.
named her Clemens after her grandparents' last name.
Yeah.
And then Kelly is her middle name after my dad's middle name. So
That's
the,
awesome.
the Kelly name continues. Not a double name, but
Yeah.
still continues.
I get it. I get it. My middle name is Michael. My dad's first name was Michael, so that was
Oh,
and there's like some history of those kind of
yeah,
like the first name becomes the middle name kind of deal in my family.
that's cool.
In my son's case, his middle name is West,
Okay.
which is my mother's maiden name.
Wow.
So that was a grandmother that was really influential
Yeah.
in my life. And so her maiden name was West, and I wanted to pay homage to her.
Yeah.
And so
It's cool when you like get into all that, and especially as we're about to have our first kid, like you start to appreciate a lot of that like family history and tradition
yeah,
a lot more, and you're like, oh yeah, this is important. I want to take honor in these things.
yeah. And then we also have names like Addison, my daughter who's behind the camera. Her name came from a TV show, Grey's Anatomy.
There we go.
And if you know the character Addison, that's not always a good thing, which she has watched. And so now we have to, that's not really why we picked, we just thought the name was pretty. So
Yes, of course.
she's nothing like the negative side of the Addison character.
At
So
least we hope.
yeah, exactly. Not yet. So, well, Grant, I do have, or Stephen, I'll stick with Grant. I have a cousin. His name was Stephen, and we called him Bubba
Okay.
growing up. I mean, good
No,
old
no
Southern.
Bubba here.
No Bubba. Okay. Well, he now is like, I'm not Bubba. I'm Stephen. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you made a smart choice.
yeah, it happens. So, but let's talk a little bit about who is Grant Watson. Tell me a little bit of. I mean, now we know a little bit of your family dynamics
That's
at
right.
least, but tell me who you are. Where'd you grow up? How did you? We don't have to get into like the creative journey
Sure, sure.
specifically, but maybe just like, did you pick up a camera when you were a kid?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think if you had asked my like I remember it was funny, I was on the way home, like I was a toddler at this point, and somehow I got to talk to my mom about like jobs I would do one day, and I like couldn't figure it out. Because in my mind, the only jobs you could do was like police or
Right.
doctor or whatever. I was like, I don't like any of those
Yeah. The
options.
ones that always came on the little toy
That's
figures.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my mind, that's all I could do, and I didn't like any of those options. But yeah, I grew up in Montgomery, went to Trinity, and thought I was going to play baseball in college. Did not, thankfully. Um, had a shoulder surgery that like prevented that. And so I ended up just going to Auburn, which was a huge blessing. Found a lot of like really great friends that I'm still friends with today and like really helped shape, mold me into the person I am today. kind of during that time, my walk with the Lord like began to really become much more serious, and I started to have a true like joy and love for him, that like started to shape things. And so, as we were talking about earlier, before we started this, like I was in biomed for a little bit. I realized like I don't like that as much as I thought when I went into college, and so I switched actually to communication, because I thought maybe some sort of pastoral ministry would be the route that I would go into.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes hand in hand with that like seriousness for the Lord. Thought maybe there was some sort of ministry route ahead, and yeah, that was kind of what I ended up doing. Like during the summers, I worked at several churches, Briarwood, um, for a summer, and then had plans to work at a church in Huntsville with one of my good friends. COVID hit at that point.
Mm,
So they were like, "We don't have money for you." We basically took all the funds we were going to pay you and put it towards people who lost their jobs. And I was like, "Well,
that was
that's
nice.
understandable." Now I need to figure out what I'm going to do.
But now I've lost my job.
That's right. Um, you know, I was a lot more flexible than those families,
Right.
of course. But so yeah, I kind of like tried to figure out what I was going to do, thought about a lot of different things, and then ended up coming to Birmingham and joining the Briarwood Fellows program, which is like a post grad, like it's a 9 month program. It's focused on like vocation and ministry and having like a solid theology of work.
Okay.
And so it's really all about like what does work really look like, from a theological perspective, and like what does God think about work and how should we think about work.
Yeah.
So really trying to shape or redesign how we think about work in the sense that, most of us, if you look at like the sitcoms and stuff, work is just this begrudging thing that you do. But work was actually present in the garden before the fall, so work was not bad in and of itself. But work obviously has challenges because of the fall.
Right.
And so trying to shape that and see how we can use our work to bless others. Where video comes in is while I was at Auburn, one of my roommates started doing wedding video, which I call like, I think shooting weddings, from a video perspective is like the gateway drug. It's cheap.
Definitely.
People will pay you and take a risk on you, especially family members. And so one of my buddies was doing it. He made like 1,500 in a weekend. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are so rich.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Which as a college student, I mean, you're swimming at that point.
Yeah. My first one was $700.
There we go.
That was my first, and it was much later in life than maybe it was for you. It sounds like so 700 was not a lot of money for me then, but it was breaking in, breaking into
That's
that.
right. Well, at
Yeah.
least it was better than free.
Well, my first one was free,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
beside the
yeah.
point.
Um, but yeah, started to kind of enjoy that. I kind of like, helped him out a little bit. Didn't really get into it until I started working for a nonprofit my senior year of college. Did some of their marketing, social media stuff, and they asked me, "Do you think you can make a video?" And I'm like, "I think I can make a video." It was terrible, but I made it. And then I started making several for them. And basically, when I went into the fellows program, that was like one of the things I wanted to do. So part of the program is you work part time, and so I worked for two different ministries, like shared that time and made a lot of videos during that experience. Um, Fell in love with it. Really loved kind of like how I mentioned that tinkering, that building something, showing something that you're proud of.
Yeah.
Hopefully something that encourages people as well, or challenges them. And I was like, I think I want to try this rather than going into like a pastoral role. I'm just curious to see what this looks like. Ran into a friend from college, at a Chipotle on 280. Random Saturday night, and he's like, "What do you think about doing? Like, I know you're in the fellows program. I'm like, I want to do something video wise." And him and a buddy were starting a video company, so they texted me and was like, "Let's get lunch this week," and hired me. Um, and then yeah, started working with them, and then eventually acquired the company from them. So this is the company that I currently own is what they started.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been following along with 99 Natives
Yeah.
for a while. Gosh, I think the first interaction I ever had, obviously virtual interaction, but it actually came from Innova Coffee.
Yeah.
I think I went by there one day, got a cup of coffee, and then maybe I reached out to them about like, "Hey, would if y'all ever need video work, would love to do a video for you."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they're like, "Well, actually, we have a son who does video and he's recently done like this video for us."
Yeah.
And sent me and it was is it Banks Nash?
Hmm.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've started following 99 Natives then,
Yeah.
and gosh, the caliber of work that y'all have always done that I've seen has just been incredible.
Thanks.
From the I think Christopher AI was some of the stuff that I
That's right.
started watching early on
Yeah.
because I had a home designer that I started doing work for,
Yeah.
and I don't know if she pointed that out to me or if I was just looking for like other people that had
Hmm.
done like real estate designer kind of
Yes. Yeah.
more elevated kind of real estate videos. But anyway, then I came across the stuff y'all had done
Yeah.
with them. Trying to think of some of the other stuff, but it was definitely I remember even my old coworker Cole Peavy, who is another person that goes by his middle name instead
Oh,
of his
there we go.
first name, Travis.
They're out there.
But anyway, he was he and I would sit in our office and just look at different videos, like we were saying before,
Yeah.
either comparing sometimes and dying a little inside, or being inspired to
Yeah.
like. Man, we those are the kind of shots we need to include
Hmm. Hmm.
because he was actually doing some of that home designer work with me.
Nice.
And gosh, man, the stuff that 99 Natives has been putting out has always been just incredible caliber. With that said, I would love to see some of that early stuff. I should have found some of your early stuff that you're like,
I
oh,
don't.
it's
I
terrible.
don't know if you
I
can
wish I
find any of
could have. I
that.
wish I could have found it. Like, what is that? What is that nonprofit you work for? I need to look
It's
that
a
up. So,
pregnancy care center. I was
okay,
one of the only men that worked in that place. It's me and another guy. We shared an office together. Everybody else was females, as you could imagine.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it was awesome. Women's Hope. They do great work down there.
okay. I'm gonna have to look
So
up some of those videos.
you have to do some deep dives
I
to
mean,
find
it's
it. It's
amazing how
probably on the Facebook somewhere.
it's amazing how quick you can scroll to the end of somebody's Facebook. I might have been to the end of yours at some
Okay.
point. So
There's
there's
some
some
interesting things
yeah,
up
some
there for
good
sure.
imagery coming up
That's
soon.
right.
So okay, well let's talk a little bit about that creative journey
Yep.
specifically. You mentioned already Danny Gevirtz, I
Yes.
think is how you say his last name. Um, who else like where did you go to really learn? I mean, you talked about being in this fellowship program. So
Hmm.
obviously there was maybe some opportunity there to
Yeah.
take like more traditional classes, but how did you really learn? First of all, what you were interested in. Second of all, how did you learn more skills in that interest?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whenever I was in the fellows, everything I learned was just via YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't really have anybody to like watch, or to like, I guess, show me at that point. And then when I got hired by Connor and Banks, who
Yeah.
started the company, what was Resolute Media at that point.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
I remember that because that
yep,
was they did Resolute Films as their
that's right.
like wedding stuff for
Yeah,
a long time.
yep. Which still is a thing. Johnson and Sarah now um, own that and work on it, but. Um, Yeah, they hired me on and I knew essentially nothing. I remember I think looking back on it now, I'm like, I'm sure it was like he was really hard to train because I came in like barely knowing anything and them just like trying to teach me from scratch, like how to do stuff. And
Were you confident in the skills that you felt like you had at the time?
no,
Or did you feel like immediately you were way in over your
oh,
head?
I knew I was way in over my head. I mean, the stuff I was making I thought was good, and then I would look at their videos. I'm like, yeah, it's not anywhere close. And then like we had some like big jobs right out the gate, like stuff with Christopher Architecture and some other big jobs, and I was like, this is beyond me. And so you get on a set and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then they tell you to go grab an item, and you're like, I don't know what that is. Go set up the 300D. What's that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I remember we did one of our very first shoots was we went and filmed an interview with like the mayor of Huntsville, and we like take all the stuff up to his office, and they're trying to like talk to the mayor, figure out the spot, and they're like, set up the light. And I'm like, what's a light?
How do I set it up?
And I'm like, could not figure out which cord goes where. And I remember they like eventually had to come over there and like set up themselves. And I'm just like, this is this is too much.
Yeah.
So I think after the shoot, I was like, please show me how to set this up so we don't do this again.
I mean, I think everyone has to go through a little
Yeah.
bit of that. Like it, I mean, I think of my daughter who's been on set with me. I think of some other people that I'm like, hey, I need an extra set of hands. Like if you're available, just come
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they feel totally lost on set that first time. But it only takes one time of feeling that struggle,
Yes.
being shown how to do it. And then the next time, for the most part, it's like, okay, I know
Hopefully it's
this
just one
now.
time.
I mean, even if it's not, I mean, there's definitely some things that get more complicated. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never done like Video Village kind of stuff, so I can imagine if somebody's having to set that up, probably it's going to take more than one time to
Right.
really show how all of the wiring and everything should go, or the
Yes.
transmissions and all that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's pretty normal, and I would imagine people that have been or maybe are currently
Hmm.
feeling a little bit of that pain would feel really good knowing from somebody that now runs a full production company like you do, to know that you went through that at one
Yes.
point. So
Well, if you know how to set up a 300D, you are already way ahead of where I was at.
I have a 200X, so Addison doesn't know anything about a
Okay.
300D. So
It's probably very similar. But yeah, so that they were really helpful just to like learn like here's just the basics, you know. And I had like done some editing stuff, but they were helpful in that regard. And then we actually hired Brody,
yeah,
which I think you've had him on at some
yeah,
point and have worked with him.
yeah.
Um,
Brody's incredible.
he is quite the character.
Well, and so many YouTube videos I was going through and watching. None of them show up in this, but I mean I could pull one up.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, Brody, the character on
that's right.
camera, and you're always behind the camera because he always referenced you or
Yep,
talked to you
yep.
in real time on those
We
things.
had
So
we had a lot of fun. Yeah, we brought him on, and I think Connor and Banks kind of showed me a lot of like how we like run a business and video together. And they were kind of taking themselves out of the company to focus on another company at that point. Um, Brody really showed me a lot of like what does it look like to love video and
mm,
like um to like want to learn the craft. Like Connor and Banks are basically they're like we're kind of piecing out on video itself and we just want to build a business, not how do we become a better filmmaker.
yeah,
Where Brody was the opposite. Like I don't care as much about building business. Obviously, that's necessary, but how do I become a better filmmaker? So it was helpful to have those two comparisons. And Brody knew infinitely more than I did, still does. And I learned a ton from him, you know, from lighting to thinking about shot selection to, we did a lot of like early like commercial work and it was interesting to like watch him walk through that process and um yeah, he had a huge impact in how I think about my work and how I think about making videos. And so we still get to work together today on a lot of different stuff. And so I can always count on I'm going to have a great time if Brady's on set.
oh, definitely, definitely. No, he's got that infectious humor and laugh, and
Yes, he
yeah,
does.
just presence is always. I don't think there's ever a dull moment
There's not.
around Brody Burgess.
Yeah, and he has a great poker face as well. We've been on several shoots in the past that are just like this is a terrible experience, and
You
you
would
know,
never know.
you would never know, but eventually you can kind of pick up when he's mad, and it's really funny at that point
Okay.
because he doesn't get mad often. But yeah, he is very, very good at what he does. I'm I'm thankful, and I think everybody else is thankful that he's finally hired his wife full
I,
time.
I just got a text from her yesterday because
Yes,
she's now, I guess, doing more of that continuous outreach.
yes,
Hey, you mentioned this before. Let us know if you still want to do that.
yes.
So,
Praise the Lord that she is now on board for everybody else's sanity.
Communication maybe
Oh,
isn't his strength.
yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
that's right. That's
Brody, we're outing you right here.
yeah. You have been exposed, even though everybody else knows it's there's no exposure. uh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So, and then honestly, just like watching other people's stuff and like kind of what I was mentioning earlier of like, let me watch other people's stuff to see like what they're doing and how I can like incorporate some things. Um, I mean, there's a ton of people in Birmingham that does like such good work. Like 1504 does some very artful things. 11 does a lot of really awesome stuff. 6 foot 5, Cedar, those guys over there do some great stuff. And so watching their things and saying, okay, what can I do this next shoot that would be maybe take it up a 1% better,
Mm.
is kind of maybe something that I'm continually trying to do.
Yeah. Well, you have talked about, or we've already talked a lot about 99 Natives,
Hmm.
and it sounds like it started with Connor and Banks,
Yep.
right? And then they brought you on, and then brought Brody on.
Yep.
Then Connor and Banks have left. I know Brody has sort of stepped out to
Yep.
do his own business. Does that leave? Are you alone now with 99
Yep.
Natives, or do you have a team still there?
Yeah. So whenever I acquired the business, it was 2023. Um, Brody stepped away, and Connor Banks had essentially stepped away as well. So I had a conversation with them of like, hey, I still want to keep doing this. What is it like to acquire the business? We worked out a deal, and so essentially I ran it just like solo with contract help. Um, Still do that. I hired a assistant to come and like help with like admin stuff and like some communications work last November. And yeah, it's basically just me and Jolene. And we essentially just run everything, and then I'll just hire out contractors. Brody edits for me pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So I started working with him like on a more consistent basis last year, when I just had too much work to try and do myself, and um, that was super helpful.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like he has built um, a list of clientele that he edits for. I mean, from what I understand, that's sort of his main
Yeah,
bread and butter. And then when he has time, he works on his film stuff.
I don't know how he has time.
I know. Hey, editing is one of those things that's like you lock yourself in a room for like 2 weeks
That's
and you're
right.
still not done by the
Yes.
end of it. You know, it's like, why
Hopefully, you've
can't,
made some progress.
maybe, maybe
Hopefully, you found the right songs that you want to use. That
that
seems to
is,
be the
oh my
longest thing for
gosh.
me.
And it seems like these sites where you can get this stuff seem to get less and less options. I feel like, or maybe I'm just burning through it and they're not adding more. I feel
Yeah,
like
I feel like I'm not a music guy.
I'm
Like
not
I
either.
like music, but I'm not in the weeds of it.
No.
And oftentimes I'm like, okay, I know what I'm wanting, but I don't know how to actually find that on the site. That's where I end up
Okay.
struggling the most. And so
Yeah.
then I just end up listening to a bunch of stuff. Or I like actually have heard the song in my foray, but I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. But then if I like had just like put it in there, it probably could have worked.
Right.
Uh,
I've actually intentionally found a terrible song and thrown it in to see, can this work?
mm,
Like something that is so out of left
so
field.
out there.
I did it one time when I was actually back when I was working for the school district. I would I would train teachers in doing some of this stuff that were teaching like digital media type
Hmm.
classes, and I think I had gone and done some like band camp, like just like
Yeah.
summer camp kind of stuff, videos. And it was with this other teacher. And I told him, like, find a song you think is fitting. And I was like, oh, this one is terrible. Like it has nothing to do with the vibe of this. And I was like, I'm gonna throw it in there and just try it. And it worked great. I mean, it was probably one of my favorite videos I had done up to
Yeah,
that point.
you sometimes I'm surprised when I hear it. Like, I mean, I use Music Bed for a lot of stuff, and then Artlist for things that you need like unlimited licensing,
Yeah.
because Music Bed will charge you
Yeah. Art List is the one that I've
an
stuck with
arm
the
and a
longest.
leg. But there's been several times where I'm just like I can't find the song that I want, and then I just like throw something in there, and then I'm like, okay, I kind of vibe with this. Like this
Yeah.
is good. Um, Can't be too picky at the beginning.
Do you do much? I mean, because I'm also one that is not a music person, but
Yeah.
I see people. Jesse Driftwood. I don't know if you remember
Mm-mm.
him. He's one that's started on Instagram doing like the Instagram stories before they would last beyond 24 hours.
Yeah.
So he would invest a whole lot of editing and sound design and everything into these
S-
24-hour available videos, and then they'd be gone forever.
Interesting.
And he was incredible at it. I mean, he's the one that I learned how to do like in camera transitions, because he
Mm-hmm.
was really big on those, you know, dipping into one color and out of it, you know, in another scene, or masking an object across that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
revealed the next scene or something. But anyway, he was one that I learned that from. Well, then he also would take sounds like his daughter's laugh, and then he would like it would become part of the music track.
Oh,
Like he
interesting.
would include that in a
Yeah.
certain tone, and he had a previous life of doing like music recording and
Yes.
mixing and everything. So he was incredible. But anyway, all that to say, I've seen people that take multiple songs and even all these other sound design kind of elements,
Yep.
and they know how to weave it together
Yep.
to make, you know, a, a, a real narrative, much more so than I feel like I'm capable of doing whenever it comes to the music. Do you Have you experimented with doing that? Is that stuff that you're like, I'm not a music guy, but I know how to do that kind of stuff at least?
I'm learning. Yeah, it was actually Brody. Showed me, I guess it was like a year and some change ago. Like, I was like, okay, I want to incorporate multiple songs into a film, and like, how do you do that? So we like actually walked through it. I'm not sure if he learned it from the Cedar guys or just from, because I know he had been editing a lot for them at that
Yeah,
point. And they do it really well. The
agreed.
in and out of music and whatnot. But yeah, he kind of showed me, and then like since then I've been playing around with it, and I would say I'm getting better at it.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it definitely is a. I think learning how to do that definitely takes the film to another level, because weaving in different songs helps you like establish a different feel for every single moment, or section of moments, so that the audience can feel something different rather than just feel the same thing
yeah,
across a film, because every film has different moments and different feelings and that you want them to feel. You want them to feel a tension at a certain point. Well, let's have a song that makes them feel that way, because so much of it is the song actually,
agreed,
you know.
agreed. I mean, it's amazing because I've got a friend recently that has shown me a couple of videos that is somebody that's sort of working with them,
Hmm.
and they're like, "Look at this music. It's not quite right," and it's crazy
Yeah.
how by putting sometimes it's just sort of an it sound some of the songs sound like it came out of iMovie's like ready to go tracks. You
Mhm,
know what I mean?
mhm.
And those just don't have a good vibe to them. They don't have that emotional undertone.
Yes.
It's almost just that like business.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the category, but it's like like if you just do like corporate,
Corporate
just
music.
corporate,
Yeah.
and maybe corporate and happy. If you do corporate and happy on art list,
The
those are
worst.
terrible songs. Like you need
Yeah, the
you need
worst.
what was it, like cinema or cinematic? There was another ambient.
Yeah.
Ambient has
Yeah,
some
yeah.
really great
It does.
sounds sometimes that you get in that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, not corporate if you pair it with one of those, but
That's
not
bad.
corporate and happy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, those were strictly the places I used to look in whenever I first started.
I
So
get it.
if you go back and find some songs, you'll hear some of those songs.
Okay. I look forward to that, definitely. Well, it's incredible that this was like a four-person
Hmm.
team at one point, and now it's really just you owning and operating this
Hmm.
business, bringing in people, working with people still. But it's pretty impressive, like the catalog that you're still able to sort of carry forward. Do you feel like the weight of that? Do you feel like the legacy of 99 Natives, and like a burden of having to carry that, or has that been really like energizing and exciting to sort of be the one owner
Hmm.
operator now instead of having that team? Was that a difficult transition?
I mean, the transition was interesting. obviously, like, I enjoyed working with Brody, and I know he had other aspirations at that point, things that, like, the business was just never gonna do, um, and so that was tough, I think, whenever we split off, but, like, in terms of actually, like, taking on the work and continuing it on, it wasn't that hard because we were already kinda doing that,
Connor and Banks had already sort of
yeah, they had
stepped
kind
out.
of already stepped out, and so
I know they moved down to the beach
they
and
did.
started Motion. No, not
Array.
Motion. Oh, just Array.
Yep.
Motion Array's another.
Yes.
That's
I've
another
used it
business.
before.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They started Array. Array 30A. I know
Yep.
was one that I saw sort of first start off.
Yep.
Yeah, and which seems to be super successful.
Very successful. Now they're in the pool
I
cleaning
saw that.
business.
Yeah. What
Um,
was it? Pool captain or
that's it.
something? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are anything their hands touch will turn to gold. Mark my words on that one.
Yeah. No, no,
They're
both of
smart
them,
guys.
they seem to be very business savvy,
They are.
not in like a sleazy kind of way,
Yeah,
because that can feel sleazy at times, but they seem to be genuine and very capable.
that they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect those guys a ton.
Do you still work with them at all?
Not really. I mean, we keep up like every so often, like how's life and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
if I have like a business question, that's like strictly business, like how do I do this in operations? Like I'll call them.
They can at least get you into a good bed and
Yeah,
breakfast down at
that's
down at
right.
like 30A or something,
I'll
right?
stay with them whenever I have jobs and whatnot. Um, so I still keep up with them, but um, yeah, they're doing great work down there. They're serial entrepreneurs. They can't help themselves but create a business, get it up and running, and then start something else.
Yeah.
Um,
They're like they get bored with one and they move on to the
yeah,
next. Yeah.
and they do a great job of like blessing people with the company. Like they blessed me with the ability to acquire 99 natives. They allowed Johnson and Sarah to like take over the wedding side,
Mm.
and um, so it's not like they hoard it for themselves. They are truly like blessing other people and are very generous. So with that, I mean, I think to go back to your question of like the legacy of Naya natives, at this point it feels very much like my thing. You know, my wife, she's a speech therapist and she doesn't work for the company. Maybe one day, but um, she and I were both very excited to take this on, and she's very much a part of it as even though she doesn't work for this full time.
Yeah.
She comes home and listens to me talk about the different things, and
My wife has said she needs to start a therapy
that's
group
right.
for video production wives.
Yes, she
Yeah.
could.
Creating creators wives.
She could definitely have some things to add to it. Like watch this video. I'm sure she's heard me say that a million times. Hey, come watch this video. What do you think? She's like, I don't want to watch this video. I'm like, just do it. It'd take you 5 minutes. 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a long video.
I'm like, yeah, you got 5 minutes.
Yeah. But
Um,
it's got a good emotional song to
yeah,
it.
come on. Like, do you like the track?
There's two songs in
And
there.
then she'll
We've
be
worked them
like,
together.
I don't like that. I'm like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I can always count on her giving me an honest opinion, but I
Definitely.
have realized I can't show her an unfinished product. Uh,
Mm.
she can't like see the past the
She
veil.
can't fill the gaps in.
Yeah, I'm like, well, don't worry about that. There's no title cards. Well, I want to know what his name is. I'm like, well, that'll come. Well, you need to fix that. I'm like, I know, I'm gonna fix that. Why is there no color on it? Well, it's not. We haven't gotten to that point. Well, I don't like what it looks like right now. Well, we haven't gotten to that point. So I realized that
Yeah.
that was something that I needed to work on before I show her a film. So
Yeah. Tell me this. Just that made me think about this. Give me one of your strengths that you feel like this is my lane. And then give me one of your weaknesses that you're
mm,
like, that is something I typically outsource or bring somebody in to sort of fill that gap.
yeah, that's a great question. I feel like in terms of this world, I feel like I can operate the art and business dichotomy pretty well. Like I feel like I can straddle both of those. Like I don't feel like I'm all business, but I don't feel like I'm all art. Um, so I think I can do both fairly well, or at least at a decent enough place where I can run it by myself and still maintain things. Um, I know that for a lot of people that is a struggle because they're either really good at business and they suck at the video aspect, or they're really good at the art side of things and they suck at the business.
Yeah.
Um, the communication and all the things that come with it. So I feel like I can straddle that pretty well, but like that just means I have limitations because I straddle both of those things.
Right. I
So
mean, if nothing else, limitations on time to be able to do all of
yeah,
that.
and I mean, there are people that are infinitely better at like how do I operate a business than I am, and you know, I'm not a systems person. I don't really like systems, but I have systems, for how I do things, but that could be improved. Or, even on the art side of things, like I'm not the most artistic of people. Um, and so I can get it, you know, too deep in water really quickly on things. So, yeah, I love to hire people out for lighting, like
Yeah.
um, Brody or other people like that that have an eye for lighting that I don't. That's probably an area that I like struggling, and takes me longer to kind of get my hands around it. So for a lot of commercial stuff, like if I'm gonna shoot a commercial, I'm gonna hire somebody to probably DP or light it for me, and I'll just direct it. Um, yeah, so I think strengths wise, being able to like bridge that gap between how do I communicate well with other businesses and communicate what we're going to create, but then also be able to create for the most part of the product. Um, but then I don't feel like I'm the most like artistic of people. So there are areas of video that I would readily hire somebody out to do,
Yeah.
or think that they could do a better job than I could.
Well, that's been one thing I've found. I mean, when you're a videographer, I feel like you sort of do everything. You know, I even said I was recently talking with somebody that was sort of looking at starting their own company,
Hmm.
and I told him, I was like, it's relatively easy to be a videographer. You can make pretty decent money as a videographer. To be a video production company,
Hmm.
that adds so many more layers to
Yeah.
it, that complicates your life in a lot
Yes.
of ways, and then also pulls you out of the actual production part of it
Yeah.
more and more, and you have to fill that void with outsourcing or bringing in, hiring people or contracting with people. um, that's where those videographers or filmmakers sort of come back into
Yes.
play.
Yeah.
But if you really love making film, making videos, if that's what you want to do more and more of, then stay a videographer. Don't become a video production
That's
company,
right.
because it does pull you more and more away
Yeah.
from that.
Well, and that's why, I mean, kind of the mentality behind it is like why I didn't just like say, okay, well, I'm just gonna be done with 99 natives and become Grant Watson, whatever. Is I always just wanted it to be a company. I want people to hire a company and not just hire a person.
Hmm.
And so I liked having that, for lack of a better word, corporate veil for that. Like people don't know who it is that they're hiring or how big the team is unless they specifically ask. Just because like I want people to feel like we're hiring a legitimate business, not just some like random guy in his basement.
Agreed.
Um,
I did Riverlight Studios for that same reason. Is
yeah,
you want them to, at some point, if Brian Pope doesn't show up, they need to still be confident that
that's right.
Riverlight Studios is going to deliver them the product they
That's right.
want. Um, but if it's Pope Films, which is what I operated as previously, and suddenly
Yeah, and you're
Grant
not there.
Watson shows up instead of Brian Pope,
They're like,
well,
what's
where's Pope?
yes? Why is he not here?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Aren't we paying him?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, not that's not to say that like, people that operate as their name and their filmmaker don't do great work. A lot of them do. Way better stuff than I would ever want to do. But, I mean, I think as I like work with a lot of companies, I think there is some benefit, some advantage to having just, hey, we're going to hire this other company, this video production company to come in and do stuff for us, not just let's hire this freelancer.
yeah. How challenging has it been, or how easy has it been to really find those contractors, those people that you're working with? Have you? I mean, I was talking with Colin Odell, who owns
Mhm.
the Joy Collective, recently, and he had a shoot that he wasn't able to be at.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, it was, I think they're expecting their first child.
that's awesome.
Well, they're expecting a girl recently. So, and that was something that he really was struggling with that day. He wasn't going to be able to be on set
Mhm.
all of a sudden, and now he's got to find people.
Yeah.
Have you run into struggles of being able to find people that are experienced and skilled and available? Because I know there's
Yes.
tons of experience and skill in Birmingham, but
Yes.
not all of them are available,
Yeah.
especially at the drop of a hat.
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely had some struggles. I mean, the two people that I worked with a lot, three people really, um, Brody, Alex Kiker, and
Both of them
then
are so talented.
Delane Hurd.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. Man, yeah. If you could make a team out of those three guys, gosh,
Yes,
I would stay in the back office every day at
that's
that
right.
point.
Yeah, they would do much better than I would.
They're just those guys are all like those are the kind of guys that should probably stay as videographers, because
Yes.
they really are like they're machines. They
Yeah,
they create incredible stuff in and of themselves.
that's right. And Brody's super busy, so he's not always available. And then Alex took a job
Yeah,
with an agency, and then
that
Delane.
hurt a little bit when
It
Alex
did.
did that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it did.
yeah.
I was disappointed. But
Happy for him, but
excited
it
for
hurt.
him, but
Yeah,
disappointed for me.
yeah. Come on, Alex.
That's right. And then Delane actually just recently took a job with 1504.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he just
That hurts a little too.
within the last like 2 weeks just started with them.
I got to start finding out how much it costs to get these guys in the middle. Like, I need River Light Studios will hire you.
That's right.
River Light Studios probably can't afford them, but if I could, I
I
would
can't
love
afford
to.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, so they started working with them, which I think it'll be great for both of them. And yeah, those are kind of like the three guys that I've worked with a lot. And so now I'm kind of at the point of like trying to expand and like see who else is out there. And, um, it takes a lot of trust to hire somebody on a shoot, especially if it's just going to be you and another person, which is most of my shoots aren't that.
yeah,
Um, I don't hire very big crews very often. And so, um, yeah, it takes a lot of trust and, you want to make sure that they represent the company well. And so, it's challenging to figure out like who else do I hire, who else could be available and wants to come work at a decent rate.
yeah, yeah. It's I mean, that's been one of those things that's hard. I've worked with a lot of people over the years, a lot of super talented people, and typically the rates in Birmingham are pretty affordable. I mean, I haven't run into anybody that's like, "Wow, that's way too much. I can't afford that." Um, Thankfully, I've been able to manage people's rates, at least their day rates, not their salaries, but their day rates. But it's always tough because then you, as a company, you're giving up
Hmm.
that piece of it, and it's always hard to tell like should I or could I do this production on my own
Yeah.
and my company be able to benefit from that?
Yes.
Or do I bring in this person? Or do I need to bring in two people? What caliber of people? Is this going
Yes.
to be somebody that's got a $200 $300 day rate? Or is this going to be a $2,000 day rate
Yeah.
kind of person? Like what's kind of that caliber of person that it
Yeah.
should be?
Yeah.
So those are always hard things that I'm finding now, and I'm still relatively new at this. I think you've been at it longer than I have as far as running a company.
Yeah.
But
It is hard to always try and decide like where do I or where do I give up on the pool and push? Like do I want to make less? Do I want to make more? It's gonna be more stressful if I make more. It's gonna be less stressful if I make less in some ways. Um, yeah, I think that just depends on as you do like a lot more jobs, you kind of figure out like, okay, this is the kind of person that I need for the job. It'd be nice to have X person, but I could probably get away with this person. Could I do this by myself? Maybe, but it might be not worth it in
yeah,
the
I
long run.
I totally get that. I wanted to talk a little bit about camera movement.
Go for it.
I think let me mute this if I can. Addison, I may not be able to. Can you hit that? Uh, Boom. Oh, I got it.
There
Look
we
at
go.
that. I think I got that. So camera movement is one of those things that I feel like, first of all, 99 Natives, the videos that I've seen really do an incredible job with camera movement. I have more and more gotten away from camera movement, I
Mhm.
think. And I don't know if that's out of just laziness or what's easier. Um, at times I just feel like a static shot can be really beautiful and allow
Yeah.
the movement to go on like in the scene. But like the energy level of this video, as well as some of the others that I've seen from y'all, and then the sort of beauty of some of the movements, I've been really blown away by.
Mhm.
What's your process in that? What's your thoughts on camera movement and whether it's like easy or not easy to include that, and also you take the risk. I mean, there's definitely a couple of shots in some of the films I've seen that's a lot of camera movement,
Mhm.
like at times when it's like almost not, I wouldn't call it jittery, but it's definitely got some handheld shake to
Mhm.
it. There's some risk in that being maybe too much at
Mhm.
times,
Mhm.
and it could potentially look sloppy.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen that from you. I haven't seen that, but
Yeah.
I do think there was one specific shot. I can't remember if it was in this or if it was in. Um, I think it may have been at the beginning of this. I missed it if it was, but anyway, there's one that was really. I know what it was. It was the, oh gosh, it's like a live-in place.
Live
Live.
development?
Is it live? It says it's more of a word than that. LIV something. It's like an apartment
Yeah,
complex.
live development.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a shot in the beginning of that. It shows like the pool area that is
Uh-huh.
like a lot of movement to it.
Yep.
A lot more than I think I just was than I expected,
Mhm.
but it still looked great.
Mhm.
I'm just curious to know, like, what are your thoughts on that, and how risky are you willing to go with the
Mhm.
camera movement? And or I mean, are y'all constantly on gimbal? Are you handheld entirely? Are you handheld with an easy rig? What's sort of your
Yeah.
process?
That's a great question. I feel like camera movement it's interesting that you ask about it because I feel like I suck at camera movement.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a constant battle for me of specifically for more narrative films to not take the my like path of least resistance is like no camera movement. And what I mean by that is like I'm always most of the time I'm gonna be handheld, like with an easy rig. That's usually a lot of the stuff. Sometimes I'll, if my assistant is good with a gimbal, then I'll have him get some just like tracking shots or maybe some push-ins or like, um, you know, maybe some just like more straight line shots. I don't do a lot with the gimbal though. But
Gimbals are just so much to set up,
yeah,
and they're a pain to carry around with you.
they
Like I
are.
have found more and more, I'm like, my gimbal is up on that shelving unit and it stays up there until somebody wants to borrow a gimbal from me,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, and I'll use it. I mean, we use gimbal for that. I think looking back on it, I probably would have just we should have just used a dolly. But for like anything that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have crew members for this. I'm gonna light it. I'm now gonna just say for any like moving shots, let's use a dolly. That's gonna be way a little bit more setup, but like much more cleaner movement.
I mean, I thought all of that looked great, even with
Thank
I
you.
mean, the shake that I saw, it added energy to it,
Yeah.
a lot more. I mean, that's sort of the thing. I feel like if it's understood, there's sort of intentionality behind it. I feel like it
Hmm.
looks really good and feels really good and fits the story.
Sure.
My issue is most of the time what mine is it's not it wasn't some preconceived notion. It
Mm.
was I got shaky,
Hmm.
or I'm just not that great. I'm not using an easy rig. I have my FX3. I've got it thrown into what's the like active
Yeah.
stabilization. And if you see it look shaky, it's because it was shaky.
Hmm.
And post warp stabilization or something like that,
Yeah.
or whatever Da Vinci stabilization is called. Like it didn't work that well, so
Yeah.
I didn't use it,
Yeah.
and I wasn't shooting 60 or 120 to where I could smooth it out with that. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't think ahead. Most of the time I'm very reactive in my shooting, so
Mhm.
I'm curious to know, like, is there a lot of intentionality behind the camera movements? It sounds like maybe, but maybe not.
Um, if I'm if I'm thinking ahead, then yes. And then if I am not thinking ahead, then no.
I guess it depends on the job as to whether or
Yeah.
not you have that luxury.
Yeah, for like this project, the Lagrange project, it was definitely like a quick setup. But I did know that, like, because I had other crew members and stuff, that I wanted some tracking shots. I wanted there to be a lot of movement.
There was some of the drone shots specifically.
Um,
I'm doing a really bad job with this mouse. Sorry,
you're
you were
you're you're
saying.
doing your work right here with
I'm
trying
telling you.
to.
I know. I need to just let Addison do it. But like, there's a lot of really, I mean, to me, even that one that had a little bit more of the shake in the
Uh-huh.
theater, it felt like it was good energy, even in the moment. I love these shots. Were y'all actually in a plane or
I
was that in the
was in a
simulator?
plane.
That's so cool.
It was very, very, very cool. Um,
But the drone shots in this, there's one, maybe we just passed it, but there's one where it's like two people are walking onto the
yeah,
subway.
that's the final shot.
Did y'all line all that up, or
Yeah,
were
we
those people
basically
just
just had
randomly?
we basically just had people like, all right, walk around the campus. It's a very small campus, so that was pretty
Yeah,
easy. But Morgan Dickerson actually colored this, so shout out to him for that.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
Um,
Morgan's incredibly
he
talented.
does a great job.
He's with Cedar full time, or does
Mhm.
he
Yeah,
just
he's
do a
with them
lot
full
with?
time.
Okay,
But like I for that shot specifically of her walking and stuff, like I knew I wanted to get a tracking shot of with some students and whatnot in front. But yeah, I guess it depends on the project. If I can plan out like shot selection and sequencing, then like I want to add some dolly movements to it. I want to um vary up like how I'm shooting it. But if it's a lot of narrative stuff and it's just like I'm capturing what's there, um usually I'm going to be handheld, and uh I'll have an easy rig on for the most part. And I'll just get handheld. We're shooting on 24 for I actually don't shoot ever slow motion. I struggle with slow motion.
yeah.
um
It's such a decision. I feel like once you go into that,
yeah,
I mean, I just recently did.
I just
Well,
never know when I want it to feel like slow motion, because I love the feeling of 24
yeah,
and the
the motion
the
blur.
motion blur
Yeah,
and whatnot. And so I feel like if you shoot in 60, it's like this has to be in slow motion in the final product.
yeah.
And I
You're
don't know if I want it to be in
Yeah,
slow
you're
motion. I may
making
not.
that you're making that choice, and it feels like it's not locked in. I mean, you can show 60 at regular speed.
That
You can
doesn't look
show
great.
120 at regular speed. Again, that's one of those things that you and I would notice in each other's, but who's sitting there doing this, and you're actually seeing the individual fingers, and people are
Yes.
like, "Wait a minute. What, like,
Yes.
that's not happening in anyone's mind except for mine and yours,
Yes.
and other video production people." But I agree with you. I mean, I wrestle with that exact same
But I
thing.
do feel like people, uh, it may not be in their minds, but that oftentimes people will feel something and
I
it doesn't
agree.
feel right.
I agree.
And
They can't identify it, but it's going to feel better
yes,
if it's shot intentionally and used intentionally.
like uh, I share a studio with Brian Johnson, awesome photographer, here in town.
Really incredible. I didn't know that you shared
Mhm.
a studio
Yeah,
with him.
we're downtown, and
Or is it that loft
mhm.
studio that
Yeah,
he? Okay.
Phoenix Loft.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I went there for um Delaine's
yeah,
premiere. I
yeah,
was there for
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. I was not there. I think I was on a cruise.
For you.
I know.
You missed out.
That's right.
You should have been here instead of some boring cruise.
That's right. But we were watching a video the other day and a couple months ago, and he's like, something feels off about this video, and I can't put my finger on it. He's like, why are they moving like that? And I was
Mm,
like, they shot it in 60 and didn't put it on slow mo. So it looks weird. It looks like robotic. And he's like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I can tell something looks different.
yeah.
And so I think and oftentimes people will just notice something, but they don't know what it is. You could probably say that about any industry. It's like something feels weird with that. I don't know why that doesn't look weird, why that house looks strange. And it's like, well, the builder could probably tell you why it looks strange, but you don't have the language for it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I shoot in 24. Um, a lot of handheld stuff. I think the motion from the handheld adds some energy to it. It's
Agree.
not documentary feel to it, but it does make it feel a little bit more like lived in or
Mm,
natural, maybe. And so a lot of my narrative stuff can feel, I think, kind of that mix of maybe this was a real moment, maybe this was a staged moment. I don't know. Like, I kind of want people to think that it was a natural moment, though.
yeah. Well, I agree completely with what you're saying, and I see it and I feel it both in what I see on yours and even what I hope to see in mine.
Hmm.
That sort of authentic, real feel.
Yeah.
Um, but it the emotion that 24 conveys, the I mean, I think the beauty of 24. I mean, that's the
Hmm.
whole reason that we eventually, from the time we started till now, at some point in that transition, we started using ND filters so
Yeah.
that we could still get a shallow depth of field in 24 frames per second and 1/48 or 1/50, or what is it?
Yes.
What is what's the shutter angle? 100
180.
180. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's like you learn those
Yeah.
lessons so that we can achieve
Yeah, and that
more
was
of that.
honestly a big step for whenever Brody came on because we shot in entirely 60 when it was me, Connor, and Banks. And
That
Brody was like,
that surprises me.
yeah, Brody was like, why are we shooting at 60? And I'm like, I don't know. That's always what we've done.
Did y'all always slow it down?
No.
Did you deliver 60 frames per second timelines, like
Uh,
full videos?
I mean, like we would obviously render it out in 24 and then it would, for the shots that stayed in full speed, they would look real choppy.
That's so funny. So I recently had somebody send me a video that a team at some organization had
Yeah.
edited, and they sent it to me, and I started playing it back on my phone. And I don't know, an iPhone, if it's 120 or even 60,
Yeah.
it'll play a little bit of at regular speed, but then it flips to like slow mo it.
Oh, interesting.
And so it was like an hour, it was like a 40-minute, 20-minute video. And so it starts playing, and then it gets
And
to
then
the point that it slows it down. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it's a normal video that's supposed to have
interesting.
like voiceover
Yeah.
and everything's like slowed down.
Oh, that's
And but
interesting.
the whole reason is
Yeah.
they, in Premiere, the
Yeah, you
first
can.
clip you drop in, it'll set the timeline to be
Okay.
that frame rate, that
Yeah,
uh
because I always just go in there and set the sequence to 24,
yeah.
and then it'll, of course, change it to whatever it needs to be. But
I've
um,
done that before back in the old days. It's like
oh yeah,
you shoot in 60, and
early.
then next thing you know, you're delivering a video that is fully 60 frames per
That's right.
second.
Yeah,
And then you
because
go to slow mo and you're like, why is the 60 frames not, why does it look stuttery? Because you're looking at it on a 60 frames per second timeline.
yeah, and that's when I'm like, what's a sequence? What's a sequence setting? I remember that is a funny part. Whenever Connor and Banks first I mean, I didn't even know any of that stuff, and it would be very much like whatever clip I drug in there was the
Yeah.
sequence, and I remember I had to like get them to take a screenshot of the sequence settings because I could never remember what the format should be,
Yeah.
and I would constantly ask them, and they would be like, "Here it is. Stop asking us. Just learn these numbers." And I'm like, "What do these numbers mean?"
Yeah. 23.976.
What is that?
That's one of those numbers that it's like, why does anyone know that? That's like pi. If you know
Yes.
3.14, you probably Addison probably knows more of those. I know my son, he can start rattling them off after that, but I'm
No
like,
idea.
no one needs to know that.
That's
And
right. But people do though.
23.976 is the same thing. So
People do though.
oh, definitely, definitely. All right, let's talk process, because
Mhm.
it actually just throughout this, I'm glad I included this in slides because I was even thinking like I would love to know more of your process from that like client conversation to production.
Mhm.
How how involved do you encourage your clients to be? How and I mean in like the creative process, the planning of the shots,
Mhm. Mhm.
the bringing in the people that are going to be available on site for you to use in the video, and then how much of that do you just say, "Hey, this is the service we provide. Like we are going to take this stuff on for
Mm.
you,
Mhm.
and you get to pay us to be able to trust us
Yeah.
to do this." How is that process there, and maybe even what do you walk your clients through if they are really involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, it kind of changes a little bit, like if an agency hires you versus if if it's a direct to client.
Do you do a lot of agency versus like
Not
is
a
there
ton, but some.
yeah,
I mean, we worked with several agencies over the years, and you know, for the most part, they are hiring us to do the work and carry out their vision, and less like what is the vision for the project.
yeah. They've already sort of defined a lot of those
Yeah,
parameters and expectations, and then they just deliver to
that's right.
you, this is what we want, and then you're like you just go down a checklist almost.
Yeah, they're kind of like maybe the best way to describe it's like they're like the doctor and you're the scalpel. So they're using you as the tool to accomplish the goal.
Okay.
Um, so that's a lot more like cut and dry. Like, what's my role in this? This is my role. I'm gonna do it.
Do you have a preference?
Um,
Like if you were able to choose your ideal situation, would it be agency or client?
there's pros and cons.
Okay.
I mean, there is some nice things about working with an agency, and they have a lot more team members, and they
Mhm.
can do a much more in-depth production because they have all these things that go into it. But you don't get say in the
Yeah.
project as much.
You're being told what to do.
That's right.
Literally, they're the doctor, you're just the
Yeah,
scalpel.
that's right.
You're
And I mean, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like that is the role. So it's a nice breakup from direct to client. Direct to client, like a lot of the work that we're doing is narrative films for their company. And what kind of the process that looks like is company comes to us and you know they say, hey, we want this film oftentimes, and or we have this event that comes up, and you know my goal is always to try and say that's great, we can certainly make that for you, but is there what other needs do you have throughout the year, and could we expand this, not from the sense of hey let me make more money, even though that is part of it, but it's like, hey, we could actually make more videos for you from this one shoot,
yeah,
that could then help you down the road. Because you know, obviously, like if you get a great video, that's great, but you could get more bang for your buck if you spend a little bit extra, you know, a little bit more money, and we're able to buy more videos out of this one shoot. And
right.
so that's kind of the idea that I try to pose to people is like, could we create more videos for you that are just as helpful, and can serve alongside of this main film? What does that look like? And so that's kind of where I try to stop people. And I really want to play the role, especially that direct to client of like, you're not just hiring a filmmaker, you're going to hire somebody that's going to help you consult
Mhm.
on this process. You know,
Develop the strategy, so to speak, and
yeah,
everything.
and I mean, I'm not like taking the role of any agency and like how does this fit into the larger scheme of your marketing strategy, but you know, I do want to create some pieces that will play some different roles in whatever their strategy is. Um
What's been sort of the conversion rate on that? Like how many clients come to you percentage wise, and they ultimately what they ask for is what you deliver versus what they ask for. It grows into this larger package.
Almost always.
Really?
Yeah. Because oftentimes, you know, I mean, what we did in the past was like company would come to us, they want product A, and it's like, great, we'll do it. And then we give it to them, and then that's it. And then now they have this one video, and you know, they use it, but then it's not used as much as it could be for a variety of reasons. They get busy or whatnot. Um, but I think oftentimes people want to have other things like social cuts and, cuts that can go into emails and cuts that go on websites and I think they don't really, again, they don't have the language for it. They don't even know that's possible. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of just like taking a step back and to say, well, how can we like help you beyond what you currently want? And if we could offer you more, like, would that be helpful? And I found that people like that idea,
Yeah.
and then giving them a list of options. So that's what we'll do after that meeting is we'll come up with a list of options, you know, what you asked for, what we think might be the sweet spot, and then like this is going to cause you to dream. That last option, like it's going to push you beyond what you might think budget wise, but you get a lot of things out of it. And so that's kind of where that consultant opportunity comes in of pushing them to think bigger than what they're currently thinking.
Do you? I know a lot of pre-production thought at least goes into, and probably discussion as well goes into that main video.
Hmm.
How much pre-production thought and attention really goes into those secondary videos, or the video, the maybe third level of videos that you're
Sure.
planning to deliver?
Yeah.
Or do you find yourself like, I know I've been in this situation. Okay, I've delivered the main video. Now I'm on the hook for
All the other
three
stuff.
to five social clips. Well, crap. Like, now what am I going to do? Am I just going to pull from the existing video, or am I going to have to go back through all of
Yeah.
the original dialogue and try to
Yeah.
find even something completely different?
Yeah. I mean, it certainly depends. I mean, a lot of times we are just pulling out certain moments from the main film or certain moments that we tagged in the maybe the skeleton or not the skeleton, but the radio edit, and um,
I
that,
know what skeleton and radio edit is because I've recently rewatched Brody's part on
yeah,
editing.
there
So,
we go.
yeah, that was great.
That maybe didn't make the final cut, or something like that. Um, and then, we already have it in there. We just need to pull out the main section and
Yeah.
slip it in there. But,
His process really would come in handy in
mhm,
that specific thing.
yeah,
Because
to have that larger cut and then just shorten it
yeah,
down.
oftentimes I go through a process where I do what I call just a rough cut.
Yeah.
That's me basically just cutting out the questions. So I've got everybody's dialogue laid out, and then I go from that to build what
Hmm.
I would call like the draft
Hmm.
of the first draft at least. Oftentimes there's not that in between
Hmm.
that he would refer to as the, is that the skeleton?
Oh gosh, now you're asking me. I believe that no, that's the skeleton and the radio edit's the one that you deliver.
Yeah.
And
No, no, I thought it was the
is it
other
the
way.
other way around? Oh,
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't even
I
remember.
think the radio edit is that longer one, and then the skeleton's slightly shorter, and then there's another version that's even shorter than that. Go
You
back and
should
watch.
ask him.
Everybody should go back and watch Brody's video on
That's
99
right.
Natives YouTube channel.
Which tells you something.
Yeah, yeah. But it's really, I mean, it really was helpful. I remember
Yes.
watching that and learn, like, hearing the term radio edit. It made so much sense to
Yes.
and I sort of was doing that a little bit, but it definitely enhanced my process. So
Definitely. And that way, like, I have found in the editing, especially to have like multiple things of layers and whatnot, like, especially early on, you would delete that or like you would just run over it and then, take out all the stuff. And then you're like, oh, where was that thing that I
mhm,
had? And now I can't find it. Or I
right.
need to go search through the saved project files. And that's a nightmare. And
Yeah.
so it's helpful to have those different levels of or sequences of kind of your process and whatnot. Um,
Brody would throw up if he saw my project files. He'd be like, "Ugh, that's
I used to
terrible."
throw up when I saw his because of how unorganized they were.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
His looks.
Man,
Oh,
they were
that's
so
he's
bad.
Brody. We're outing you again,
Gosh,
Brody.
I mean, I can't tell you the number of times he'll send me project files and something's not linked because he saved it to his desktop
Oh,
or
yeah.
it's in his downloads.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
We've all been there a
I
time or
have
two,
the
but
number of times I've sent him a missing files thing and said, "Where is this at?" I would be a rich man.
oh, that's great. Just deduct it from what you pay him each time,
That's
and
right.
then maybe you will be. So
That's right. Um,
that's great. He made so really you're the master behind his organized appearance in that
No,
video.
I think Cedar had a better had a
Oh,
has I mean, that it was somewhat organized at that point, but in terms of, like, his organizational level from then to now, Cedar had a much bigger hand in that than I ever have.
yeah.
Um,
Hey, that's we're all just trying to benefit from each other a little
that's right.
bit, you know?
That's
So,
right. But yeah, I think back to that original question of process. So after I provide them with options, I basically, let's choose one or let's make another one. We'll choose one. And then from there, specifically like narrative stuff, I like to try and create sort of a blueprint um, from the pre-production calls of like, hey, we're going to send you a questionnaire, answer these questions before the first call. That will give me some information to kind of work off of to ask more questions. And then from that, I'm going to try and create somewhat of like a kind of like here's kind of the story that I think we'll cover. So that kind of goes into like the act structure. And I'm doing a fairly like simple like 3 act structure for most of the films. And I say, look at this. Does this sound right? And is this the direction that we go in?
mm,
And I give it to them and I say, yes or no. And what that does is that it gets buy-in from them, and then I can say revert back to it at the end if they don't like the film and say, "Well, this is what we agreed to. You said you wanted this, and this is the film." Because people change their minds,
oh yeah.
and
Well, and once you see it in person versus what, or see the reality of it
that's right.
versus this preconceived idea of it, it's totally
Yes.
different. In
Um,
written word versus spoken word feels a lot
Yeah,
different
and
too.
I try to make it very like, elegant in the way that it's written and, you have an idea of what it looks like before we even shoot it. And then that also acts as like the foundation or the blueprint um for how we shoot it. So a lot of the scenes will come out of that act structure of like what will fit in this point, what will fit in this point, what will fit in this point, what will help tell that story. And so that way that kind of basically fleshes out the questions too that we'll ask that will like get us to the story. So it kind of acts like the roadmap in a sense of like once you say yes to this, we are going down this route,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of veering off of it because I'm going to make the questions based off of it. I'm going to shoot the scenes based off of it. So
It's a really good idea. I'm such. I mean, I've already said I'm very reactive.
hmm
I go into an interview. In some ways, it's lazy on my part. In other ways, it's just what I enjoy.
yeah,
I go in with no real plan. I mean, I've got a general idea
yeah,
based on our conversation, but other than that, there's no preconceived ideas or questions even most of the time, and it's very reactionary based on what they say to what I may
mm,
ask and follow up. But the great thing about that is I feel like I you never know where the conversation is going to
hmm
go, and there can be some really neat avenues you go down
sure,
that maybe had I pre-planned it, we never would have gone down that.
yeah,
But the bad part is in the edit, you're like, whenever you first sit down, you're like, I have no idea where this is going. But
yeah.
you've got already, like you said, that roadmap that sort of is going to guide you a lot more. So
Well, and I would say too, like, I mean, that kind of the route that you're describing is very much what we like used to do. And I realized that it would one save me time in the edit and save me a lot of headache. Two, it would eliminate the gap between what they're expecting and what you're delivering, which is always good.
mhm.
If you can go ahead and prepare the client for what they're going to get. Um, And 3 too, I realized like, okay, well, if I can ask a lot of my like questions that I would maybe ask on the front end, like in those pre-production interviews and calls, then I can go into it knowing what that story is and what are all the possible avenues. Obviously, you can't interview everybody that's going to be in the video, but you kind of get the gist of like what this person or what this organization thinks and what they want to cover in some of those things. And so I try to do a lot of that on the front end, and that way that, um, yeah, I can have a much better grasp of like where is this going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it also helps, especially considering the variety of clients that you
hmm
work with. I've got a little bit of a niche in like education.
Hmm.
Not all of my clients, but most of my clients are related to school systems or the work of
Sure.
education. And so, it, when you're working with all these different types of clients, I mean, you're almost having to become an expert in all
Yeah.
these different industries. And the quickest way to do that is to probably do what you're doing, where you send them those questions and you sort of tailor everything from them to some degree.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Also, I do have a phone call at 11, by the way.
Well, in that case, let's go ahead and move on to sort of the tail end of this. I want to know what's next for you, and I hope you can
I
appreciate
love
some of
these
these.
these
Uh,
these photos.
I told you I dug deep down
I
into
love
it.
it.
So, but I want to know what's next for you. What's next for 99 Natives? Where do you see your aspirations going next?
That's a great question. Yeah, and this is something that my wife and I have been definitely. She's the visionary of the two of us.
Yeah.
So she's always asking me like, "What do you want to do next?" And like, "What's your big goal?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I feel like vision is always a struggle for me. But I think eventually I would love to have like a small team, like 3 to 5 people. I think my wife and I would love to start working together at some point, um, and have her more as like the producer, planner of things, and me sort of more as like the director, concept person. And so, yeah, small team would probably be where I would like to end up down the road.
Yeah.
Not anything bigger than 5 for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I don't have any like vision to like grow this massive company, but I would like to do larger films,
Yeah.
like some larger broadcast commercials and stuff like that. And uh, I can do that. It's just hard as a one person, or I have to hire people for those roles, and that becomes tricky to figure out like how to do that when they don't
Agreed.
work for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, aspiration would be to eventually do like more broadcast type stuff, and having that team would be helpful.
Yeah. I feel like hiring a team just gets so it's challenging to really get people to fully buy into a brand that's not theirs.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that. At least my experience has been that it's like, how do you get somebody to say I'm all in on this
Hmm.
when they don't have ownership of that?
Yeah.
That to me is a challenge. I mean, you saw it with Brody when. I mean, he had a different direction he was going. I recently had a hire that stepped away because they had aspirations to
Sure.
do their own thing, sort of. I feel like there's always that conflict of, come work with me and help me build this. But ultimately, a lot of people's goal is to build their own version of that.
Yeah, and I think you run into that a lot in our space.
Yeah.
I think that's always kind of the challenge that we'll have of like training young people that then want to go do their own thing.
Right.
Because when you work with a bunch of artists, they often want to do their own thing, you know. Um,
When they see, especially working alongside somebody, they see the opportunity and
that's
the
right.
need that's there, and they're like, well, hey, I mean, I watch you doing this.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some level of like, well, you see it, but have you felt it, kind
Yeah,
of deal. But
definitely.
in general, I think most of us are like, oh, if they can do it, I can do that.
For sure. Yeah.
So,
There's a lot more to it than just making a film, like you said earlier, with a videographer versus production company.
it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely, if I hadn't already lost my hair, I would be losing my hair.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm on the track.
you seem to be holding much stronger than I was at your
Okay.
age. So
Talk to me in 3 years.
I got you. Okay. All right.
But yeah, I
I can
think
recommend a razor.
I'll hit you up. I mean, it's a lot of emails, a
Yeah.
lot of emails, talk to the IRS about stuff and
Oh, yeah.
things, don't go right on taxes and whatnot. And that's the type of stuff that like isn't sexy, but without it, you're not gonna have a business.
Agreed.
Nobody
Agreed.
can pay you.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing more that 99 Natives does in general, and the team that you get to do it with. So
Yeah.
whether it's freelancers or whether it's, hiring your own team, I look forward to sort of watching along on the journey. So I always end it with sort of this kind of
I
question.
love it.
who inspires you? And we sort of touched on this already with the kind of people that you've learned from.
Mm,
But is there somebody else in your life, whether a creative or whether it's just a personal connection, or maybe somebody that you maybe not necessarily in your life, but somebody that you watch from afar, and you're like, these people inspire me to be like a better version of what I am, or a better version of, or maybe just reaching further into new skills and new territories.
mm. Yeah, that might be like a dual answer. I mean, as a Christian, like that is like the foundation of who I am and whatnot. And so I think ultimately, like, there is this longing to be more like Christ that I experience in a day to day. So I think just on a basic like inspiration level, I think it's hard not to look at Jesus and say, I want to be like him. And praise God that the Spirit has molded me, hopefully, more and more to be like him. But I think there's not like a set video creator per se that inspires me. I think everybody has a lot of like strengths and weaknesses, and so I like watching different people, whether it is Danny Gevirtz or 1504 or Cedar or somebody on Instagram that have different styles of video and say, I like that style of video. Maybe I
Yeah.
could do a video like that one day. Or I like how they use sound in this. Maybe I can incorporate that into it. So I kind of have like a several people that I like go and watch frequently. But they kind of all have their like their niche, their vibe that they like to watch or that they like to incorporate in their videos. So it kind of just depends on the mood that I'm in.
Now I need to do this. I need to do a creating creators challenge one time. I need to take uh, some of these video production guys that
Hmm.
company owners like yourself, and put. I'm thinking of like you, maybe one of the guys from Cedar, maybe Stephen DeVries.
Hmm.
Some of these guys. Get them all together and just say, okay, here's your challenge. Here's the video you have to imitate or style you have to do it. And I'm thinking like the whip pans and like,
Sure.
really go trendy kind of stuff. Maybe even with, well, if you start getting animated graphics and stuff, that's a whole nother level. But anyway,
I'll call Alex
yeah,
in. Right.
exactly. but I think that would be really fun to see some
Yeah.
of y'all just try and say, okay, this is nothing like you do. Who can do it the best?
Uh,
And let's
mm,
let's put the
that
put
would
a
be
different type of hat on and
yeah,
go
that would
try
be
it.
fun. I mean, the trendy style is fun, and I think there's some things to learn. I mean, it's trendy, so at some point it will go out of trend.
Right, right.
Um, so,
But
but
there's still like skill sets in it.
yeah,
I've seen, I mean, I mentioned earlier about that whole like having an object come in front of the camera and then you see the scene change. That's something that I feel like for a long time was very trendy to do in social clips. And I've seen it in some of y'all's videos.
yeah,
I can't remember which one exactly. I want to say it may have been the one we were talking about earlier, the live one, or it may have been the university one. Maybe I just missed it that time. But anyway, you see like a person walk and then it reveals the next.
yeah,
Like I think there's still those trendy aspects that are not trends. They're
yes,
lifelong like practices. I
that's
mean,
right. Yeah,
even you see in like high level film those kind of same things done. It's just more of how it's applied. The concept itself is
right.
probably
Yeah,
a golden rule almost at
yeah,
times.
yeah. No, there's definitely. I've done it in several things, and a lot of it's just like, can I make this work in this
Yeah,
video? But I think it really just depends on how you do it, and I think at least with the trends of like right now, if you watch like Instagram trends, like I think what will probably stick away is like how people are using sound at
oh,
this point,
definitely, definitely.
like transitional sounds and the loud like texture and tactile noises. Like I think that will probably continue. Maybe some other things won't, but who knows? We'll see what happens. We'll see what the
Okay.
people on Instagram want.
There you go. Well, if I end up doing a challenge, I'm definitely going to be
Okay.
calling you up. So I'll get you and a few of the others
Yeah.
out there. So I
I'm,
think that would be
I'm
really
game.
fun. So thank you so much, Grant,
Yeah.
for sitting down and talking with me. Thank you for just taking the time. Your demeanor, your presence is very comfortable to be around, and just I feel very the conversation has felt very authentic
Yeah.
and genuine. So I appreciate that. And
Happy to be on here. And I mean, I think from my perspective is I certainly don't know everything, but um, people have been kind enough and gracious enough to show me things. And I certainly, if I know something that somebody else doesn't, then happy to share it
yeah,
because somebody did that for me.
well, and that's been the norm. I feel like in the Birmingham creative community, more and more that I interact with people that I haven't interacted with before. It seems like everyone's just willing to work together, collaborate. One of the very first people I interviewed, the very first person, was Aaron Wilhite, and he talked about
Yeah.
him and Harrison Tarabellas sharing an office
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he talked about it's not about competition, it's about collaboration.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
feel like that has been the sort of like banner theme of Birmingham creative community is
Yep.
it's all about collaboration. It's how can we work together? How can we build a stronger creative community? How can we build a stronger product together ultimately?
Yeah.
So, and I see that from
Aaron
you,
does
man.
great work.
Oh, definitely.
He's always working on something.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
one of those guys where I'm like, okay, if I need a contractor, I would love to work with Aaron, but I can assume that he has a job that day.
Yeah. I have scheduled or tried to schedule with him and he's always got something.
Yes, he does.
If it's not some big project, it's him out there grilling with his big green egg,
That's right.
and evidently becoming
Yeah.
a spokesman for them now.
I
So
was about to say, I mean, I think they've hired him for some stuff, so
it's wild. It's
he's
wild.
he's good at what he does.
Oh, he's
Makes
great.
sense.
Yeah, he's great, and he has that sort of deadpan humor.
He does.
So yeah,
He
he's
does.
he's fun to be around. So, but Grant, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Seriously.
thank you for having me on, and it's been a pleasure.